Hi everyone, Spider-Man 1991 here, and it's time for my weekly comic book review. I've got at least 12 comics here, so it's going to take a while. So this may be a little long review, so stick with me. Alright, starting off with Marvel. Thor, God of Thunder, number 5. The conclusion to the God Killer story arc. What happens is Gore pretty much travels to the beginning of the universe, and he steals the heart of an elder god. And then we get more information about pretty much what we know about Thor's past when he was captured by Gore. Is that Thor's Viking allies broke him out, and he was saved, but Gore got away, and Thor ordered his allies to never mention it again. Then back to the present, Gore returns from his trip to the beginning, and present-day Thor is there. They fight, but unfortunately, again, Gore gets away. But this time, Thor follows him into the time portal that Gore is using. Except when Thor follows through, he winds up almost 1,000 years in the future. But I think I don't remember the exact number, but yeah, he goes to the future and he meets his future self, who at first he thinks is Odin, which I thought was nice. And also that was how the last issue ended for future Thor, was that he saw his present-day self show up, and so now we're getting a nice callback to that. Thor meets his future self, and they are able to hold off Gore's minions, but then old Thor reveals that Gore has actually been here for 900 years. Okay, well, gotta admit, this conclusion wasn't really... The reason I say this is a conclusion is because we will get another story featuring Gore, because next issue will be his origin, but right now, this is pretty much the introduction to Gore, and he is definitely a very deadly foe. He has the ability... He is pretty much a guy who's able to kill gods. Sounds pretty impressive. Also, the conclusion to this, I have to say, it was kind of weak. I was hoping for a conclusion that was, an actual ending, but I guess not. So this is obviously going to continue on for a few more issues until we actually get to a real conclusion for the whole Gore feature. But Thor: God of Thunder, I'd say when they start it was a good overall. It was a good story arc. If you want to start reading this series, wait till next issue 6, because that will probably be a good jump-on point for you. Also, the first 5 issues are probably going to be collected in a trade or something, and I think all the Marvel Now trades are going to be out in like a month. So check it out if you get the chance. Okay, next up, Avengers number 6. The last 2 issues of Avengers have just been sort of giving us backstories on some of the new members. This issue, we get more information about Captain Universe. Well, this Captain Universe. Shang-Chi talks to Captain Universe to reveal more information about its host, and we learn that the woman that Captain Universe is using for its current host was involved in was named Tamara, and she was in a car crash with her daughter, but she wound up in a coma. But we don't know what happened to her daughter, and also it's been 10 years since the accident. And also, one more thing I want to point out, when this series started, the Spider-Man in the Avengers was Peter Parker, but now we're pretty much stuck with the Superior Spider-Man. So yeah, this pretty much takes place like almost immediately between the end of 700 and the beginning of Superior Spider-Man. Just letting everyone know about that. But back to the main thing. Once Captain Universe kind of gives the origin, Captain Universe and Shang-Chi then walk in on Tony Stark, who's trying to communicate with the new Adam from the first story arc, and pretty much Captain Universe enables the new Adam to speak English, and he starts to warn everyone about the White event is coming. And that's where the issue ends, with this big ray of white energy headed towards Earth. Alright, Avengers number 6. I'm actually liking this series. Right now, all this has been they're taking it slow, but I have been enjoying the issues ever since number 1 because it's been a very amazing. I think Jonathan Hickman's doing a great job on this, and he does do a good job also at writing writing Spider-Man, and kind of letting people know that at this point forward, this is Doc Ock as Spider-Man, not Peter Parker anymore. So now this is more in line with Superior Spider-Man. Okay, I would recommend getting Avengers. If you don't have an Avengers title, then maybe you should give Avengers a shot. I'd say next issue is probably a good jump on. You can jump on right now either with this issue or the next issue because nothing really big has been happening. Other than the first 3 issues, but if you can find those, that's great. If not, it's okay. But you should check out Avengers. It's a very nice series. Okay, now for Captain America, number 4. And once again, we get a massive time shift at the beginning, because the start of this issue takes place 11 years after issue number 3. Pretty much, Captain America's adoptive son is 11 years old, so he's at least a preteen by now. And Steve and Ian are hunting, and Steve is training him how to use the Captain America shield. And they stumble upon an outpost by Zola's foot soldiers, and they discover a map of Dimension Z, which now Captain America believes they could use that to find the portal that will bring them back to Earth. But right when he finds it, Captain America starts to pass out, mainly because of the Zola virus that's been infecting him. If you saw the last issue, then you know that Zola somehow implanted himself onto Captain America because, well, like the robot Zola here, there's an image of Zola's face on Steve's chest. Embedded, if you will. And so after Steve passes out, he's taken back to his shelter by Ian, and while Steve's been knocked out, the Zola has been talking, and it's told Ian that Zola is his real father, and Ian's a little sad and angry at Steve for not telling him this in the first place. But Steve says that, I only wanted to tell you in case there was no hope left, but now I know how to get out of here. We're going to go back to Earth and get help. And meanwhile, Zola's daughter, also I guess Ian's sister, has now reached maturity, and now she finds out that Captain America is still alive, and so Zola sends her out to go kill Captain America. Alright, well, Captain America, other than the whole massive time shifts at the beginning of this issue, this has been a very enjoyable series. It is different from your usual Captain America. It's more sci-fi than military spy missions, so that's a very nice change of pace. Also, the Dimension Z story arc, it is interesting, and we still get flashbacks of what Steve's childhood was like. Those are also very nice, by the way. The flashbacks too. I'd say if you are a fan of Captain America, then you should pick this up because it's very interesting. And I do like seeing. One of the things I hope that we get to keep from this story arc is Ian, because I do like seeing Steve Rogers in that sort of mentor, foster father position. It's nice. Okay, Daredevil number 23. Pretty much the issue opens up with what appears to be a flashback of Matt Murdock's accident, but it's actually shown that it's just a bunch of other scientists who are trying to recreate the accident and see how Daredevil got his powers. Meanwhile, Matt Murdock decides to take his best friend Foggy Nelson, Billy Club's slinging with him just to, let Foggy see what it's like for a typical day for Daredevil. But unfortunately Daredevil has to leave early because he has to deal with a mob of the test subjects from the start of the issue, who apparently do have Daredevil's powers, but they're basically insane and crazy and just starting a riot. And so Daredevil is able to stop them, and he is able to take them all out and be at the doctor with Foggy just in time. But when the doctor goes in, But when Matt and Foggy go to meet with the doctor who talks about Foggy's test results, Matt hears a very rapid heartbeat, and he thinks at first it's Foggy, but it's actually the doctor. And if you've read the last two issues, then you know that Foggy Nelson has been getting tests to see if he has cancer. And all the doctor has to say to Foggy is, "I'm sorry." So, well, this was a definitely well-written issue. It is sad that Foggy has cancer, but I think this is a good story arc for fans of the Murdoch and Nelson friendship. Obviously Foggy is Matt's best friend. They've been through a lot together. Matt told him his secret identity. All this stuff has happened to them, and now this might be the hardest moment for them with Foggy diagnosed with cancer. No idea what's going to happen, but I do look forward to it, because I think right now, ever since I started reading Daredevil, it's been awesome. So I think that Mark Waid is going to do a good job delivering this story. No idea what's going to happen to Foggy, but I guarantee it will probably be a very nice, well-written story. And if you are a fan of Daredevil and you haven't you've stopped reading it, I'd recommend you start picking it up, starting with this issue, because it's very good. Alright. Now for my favorite Marvel Now series, Superior Spider-Man number 4. Alright, well, pretty much in this issue, Massacre has escaped from prison. Meanwhile, Superior Octo Spidey has after working on a way that he thinks could help Aunt May to regain the use of her leg without having to use a cane, he discovers that Peter Parker doesn't have his full doctorate. And this really ticks Otto off, because he says to himself he can't live in a world unless he's called by his proper title. So what does he do? He, as Peter Parker, goes back to school. He enrolls in ESU to complete the last class Peter had before he actually finished grad school, and also to work on Peter's thesis. So that was just very hilarious, seeing Dr. Octopus realize that Peter Parker doesn't have his full doctorate, and and the way he discovers it is he just makes an ass of himself at Horizon. I'm sorry, pardon my language, but he really, really does. The arrogance on Dr. Octopus is just, it's at an all-time high. And so so pretty much that's the reason why Otto goes back to school. And when he discovers that Massacre is free, he speaks with Jameson, and he says that, you know what, Peter Parker was wrong. I'm going to end Massacre. He promises Jonah J. Jameson that he will end Massacre for good this time. And of course Peter, who we all know is a subconscious ghost, is pretty much saying, "No, dude, I made a vow. You're not killing him, no matter what. I gotta regain control of my body." And so that's where it ends for And also, Spider-Man then goes to see Uatu Jackson about using his facial recognition software to go find Massacre and end this before anyone gets hurt. And meanwhile, on the last page of this, someone comes back. Someone that I have been really patient and really hoping he gets back into the Spider-Man comics. I mean, this character has been in another series for a while, but now he's back, and I can't wait to see what that character's going to do, but also I'm really liking what's going on currently with Spider-Man, Superior Spider-Man, and Massacre. The reason I'm not saying the character's name is because I want to avoid a spoiler, but I'm probably going to talk about it more on my in-depth review of this for Dark Avenger Inc. Plus. But overall, Superior Spider-Man number 4, always a fantastic issue. This series has been nothing but praise ever since it started with Marvel Now, and it's just been amazing. People really hoped that it would tank, but it didn't. So, bravo, Superior Spider-Man. I would say definitely a buy. You should really pick this up. Alright, now it's time for DC. Continuing Hell on Earth, Supergirl number 17. Supergirl fights Wonder Woman for the issue, and Diana throws her golden lasso on her, and that finally makes Supergirl realize that Hell is going to destroy everything. That's what it took. The golden lasso for Supergirl to finally realize that Hell is wrong. Alright, at this point, we've only got one title left. Hell on Earth is going to end next issue of Superman. I can't wait to get it just because this thing will finally be over. Because in all honesty, I kind of lost interest in this right when they introduced the Oracle thing. I thought that was just kind of a weird Deus Ex Machina. And that's pretty much it. I'd say this issue, you really don't need to. Not even for Hell on Earth. Because really, this is just when Supergirl finds out that, Hell's wrong, and he's going to destroy everything. That's it. Even for the crossover, it seems unnecessary. Alright, next up, Action Comics number 17. Originally, I thought this was going to be the last issue by Grant Morrison, but apparently he's going to... the ending to this will happen next issue, which will also be the first issue written by Andy Diggle, who wrote Green Arrow Year 1. But back to the main issue. Pretty much Superman is able to remove the kryptonite chains that he's been trapped in, and he's also still able to hold his own while fighting Vindictix, who's possessing this monster known as Super Doomsday. And the issue ends with Lex Luthor showing up in a giant robot saying no one kills Superman except Lex Luthor. That's what happens. Also, there is a backup story to this. Because of all the constant time shifts that are going on in this issue, the backup features the Superman of the present day Superman in this issue, going back in time for a brief moment to see his father, Jonathan Kent, one last time before Jonathan Kent dies, and Superman has a very nice moment with Jonathan, and it's very nice. I mean, the backup story was nice. The main story, not so much. I mean, the ending of the main story with Lex Luthor just showing up, that was probably a perfect example of random endings. Like when you get to the end of an issue and just something random happens. This is a perfect example. And I do know that, and I've read the solicitations for what's going to happen in Action after Andy Diggle takes over, and he is going to have a story arc that does feature Lex Luthor, so I think this is a lead into that. If that's the purpose of Lex being at the end of this issue, then it does kind of work, but if not, just wow. Because my main opinion, and if this really is the last issue written by Grant Morrison, then all I can say is his run, it started out nice. Okay, I liked the first story arc with Superman versus the Men of Steel with Brainiac. I liked it, but then after that, everything it was just a slow decreasing downhill. So at some point, I might go back and just collect the first volume of Action Comics, but after that, I would just say skip it. Skip the rest of Grant Morrison's run. The only thing that you should take from his time on Action Comics is just the first story arc. That's it. Because really, Action Comics, it's not worth $4. Not anymore. Green Lantern, number 17. Alright, we get a little prologue about how the Guardians met Volthoom. Apparently, right after Corona, as you know, Corona tried to see the beginning of the universe, and right when that happened, there was an explosion, and suddenly this guy in a space shuttle steps out, and he looks human, and he's an astronaut, and he's holding a sort of white clear lantern, and he says his name is Volthoom. And that's where the issue ends. I'm sorry, the prologue, not the issue, because if that was where the issue ended, this would really be much shorter. But yeah, main point. Alright, main story arc. Volthoom his main objective is to alter reality, and he's But however, because of his incarceration from the Guardians for so long, he's too weak to actually do it. He can make changes, but they'll only be temporary. And so, since he also gets his powers from emotion, so he can't get any from the Guardians because they're all heartless bastards. And so he reads Ganthet's mind, and he sees the four Earth Lanterns, Carol Ferris, Saint Walker, Atrocitus, and he decides to set his sights on those guys so that he could absorb their power, and he can finally alter reality in his image. And while this is going on with Volthoom, Simon Boz, who back in Green Lantern Corps Annual wound up in the Chamber of Shadows, fights Blackhand. And during the fight, Simon is able to free the remaining original Guardians who were trapped in the prison. Way back at the start of Rise of the Third Army, where there were those original Guardians who were trapped in the prison, and they were guarding Volthoom. Well, Simon freed them, but right after he frees them, Blackhand sends Simon to the Dead Zone, where he meets Sinestro and Hal Jordan, and that's where the issue ends. Okay, Wrath of the First Lantern. This is going to cross over into Green Lantern Corps, New Guardians, and Red Lanterns, but I'm only going to be getting the Green Lantern part of the story. This is all going to lead up to Green Lantern number 20, which will be Jeff Johns' final issue on the title. I'll do a vlog about Jeff leaving, but back to the main point. Green Lantern number 17. I'm very happy that Simon Boz finally meets Hal Jordan. I like the ending of this, where we now know that next issue Simon's going to meet Hal Jordan and Sinestro, and he's going to talk to them. I look forward to that meeting, and I want to know how they're going to settle the whole, who's going to be the Green Lantern of Earth, so to speak. I have a theory about it, is that since technically Simon's ring was a fusion of both the rings used by Sinestro and Hal, and both rings are linked, it is possible that the ring could be separated again, except Hal would get his ring back and Sinestro's would remain on Simon. That's just my theory about how this could work. But Green Lantern number 17, I am a little interested about the First Lantern. I won't be getting all the other Green Lantern titles, but I will be sticking to the main one, mainly because I want to see what's going to happen with Simon and Hal Jordan. Green Lantern number 17, I'd say if you read Rise of the Third Army and you're still interested in this, then pick it up. And also, if you're a fan of Jeff Johns, this will be his final story arc, so I'd say that's another reason to get this. Okay, speaking of Jeff Johns, let's take a look at one of his current titles, Justice League number 17, The Conclusion to Throne of Atlantis. This has been a very nice story arc, and let me just get into what happens this issue. The League pretty much gets back to the Watchtower, where they find Dr. Shin, and he explains that Volko is responsible, and they say they know. And now the League boom tubes down to Boston, where they help the reserves that were called in fight the Atlantean army, and also take care of the explosives that Orm set up. And of course, while the other heroes focus on the bombs and the army, Aquaman goes to have a talk with his brother. And by talk, I mean they beat the living crap out of each other. So, and Aquaman pretty much gets the upper hand, and he nearly defeats Orm. And he defeats Orm and makes him yield the throne of Atlantis to him. So, Aquaman is now the official king of Atlantis. And since he's the new king, Aquaman gets the army under his control and leads them and the other heroes to go attack all the members of the Trench. And of course, right when they're attacking the Trench, Volko shows up. And Volko returns the scepter to Arthur and says that the main reason he did all this was just so Arthur would realize his birthright and become king again. Arthur punches him in the face. So Aquaman, with the scepter, is able to control the Trench and orders them to go back into the depths of the ocean. Then he orders all the Atlanteans to go back to Atlantis, but except Orm, because since Orm is no longer the king, he loses his diplomatic immunity. And thus, he has to be arrested by the authority on the land. And so, Orm gets sent to Bel Rev. And also, and after Orm's arrested, Arthur goes back to the lighthouse and he says goodbye to Mara because he has to go to Atlantis because Mara can't enter Atlantis for some reason. I don't think that was explained, but anyways, Mara can't go to. Mara stays on land, and Aquaman goes into the sea to return to Atlantis to rule over it. And immediately following this, the Justice League, Batman talks to Cyborg, Superman, and Wonder Woman, says that, alright, now we need to open up our ranks. Steve Trevor and Amanda Waller are now getting ready to form the Justice League of America, and someone else is starting to form a team of supervillains. That's pretty much the last page of this. And that's where the issue ends. Justice League number 17. The conclusion of Thrones of Atlantis was awesome. Okay? If you loved Aquaman, then this is definitely a great story arc. This did cross over with Aquaman. So it was good. All of it was good from beginning to end. I loved it. Really loved the end to this about how it pretty much leads into what's going to happen with the Justice League of America and stuff. Pretty much, if you are an Aquaman fan and if you haven't really been excited about the Justice League series that's been written by Jeff Johns, well, this story arc was awesome, and it really changed my opinion about the book because now I definitely know that Jeff Johns has a plan for this. Yeah. Also, there will be an epilogue featured in this month's Aquaman, which is going to come out next week. So I'd say check that out if you love Thrones of Atlantis. Okay, and speaking of Justice League of America number 1. This is pretty much the recruitment issue. What happened? Amanda Waller and Steve Trevor are just go over who gets to be in the Justice League of America and why. Pretty much the members are Martian Manhunter, Catwoman, Katana, Simon Boz, Vibe, Stargirl, and Hawkman. And pretty much, also I want to point out that Catwoman was Steve Trevor's suggestion since they need someone to go against Batman. And also, Waller tells him that he's the one who has to recruit Martian Manhunter. And so Steve Trevor just calls out Martian Manhunter's name, saying that he knows he's in the room, and Manhunter appears. And he agrees to join the JLA. And immediately after that, someone gets Steve Trevor's attention, saying that Green Arrow's returned from a mission, but he's in critical condition. Steve Trevor goes to see Green Arrow, and Green Arrow tells him that apparently Green Arrow was going undercover in this sort of secret society, which I guess is the secret society of supervillains. But Green Arrow was found out, he was attacked, and he barely escaped. And before he can give Trevor a name about who's behind this, he goes in the car. He crashes. Right, Justice League of America number 1. I got the first issue because I was curious about what's going to happen, and I didn't really want to like this, but it was actually a very good read. It really was. Here we have a team of heroes that aren't really being formed, are pretty much just formed to take out the Justice League if necessary. And when you read through this, you see that Amanda Waller has clearly thought this out. She's choosing people that can hold their own against the Justice League. And I would definitely recommend this to people. Even if you haven't been enjoying Justice League and you are a Justice League fan, you should pick this up because it's awesome. And also, if you're a fan of Martian Manhunter, he's going to be featured in this book, as well as I think soon he's going to get his own backup feature in this book as well, so that'll be something to look forward to. I'm going to do an in-depth review of this, so I'll get into more details of the plot on Dark Avenger Inc. Plus. If you're curious, check that out. But right now, my weekly review of it, awesome. Definitely should give it a try if you want. Okay, 2 comics left. First off, this is a comic that I have a very on-off relationship with. It is Red Hood and the Outlaws, number 17. I mainly got this because I liked Scott LaBelle's issues that he wrote that focus on Jason Todd, and I figured, and when I saw this in the comic shop, I skimmed through it a little, and I was like, hey, this is pretty good. So, well, I mean, I read through the first few pages, and I thought, hey, this is pretty interesting. So I decided to get it, and pretty much it's just Jason Todd. He calls Starfire and Arsenal to come pick him up, and they drive to Wayne Manor to get him. And right before he leaves, though, Jason just like takes a walk through the cave and Wayne Manor, and he has different interactions with Dick Grayson, Damian Wayne, Batman, and Alfred. And almost on his way out, when Jason's leaving, he puts on his helmet, but suddenly it sprays him with something, and a recording from the Joker appears saying that to in a way get the last laugh, and then Jason's sprayed with acid, and it's either acid or toxic gas. The way it was drawn, it looked more like acid than gas, and so Jason yells in pain, and everyone and Batman, Robin, Alfred, Starfire, Arsenal hear him, and they rush to his aid, and Batman's able to get the helmet off, but Jason's face is kind of burnt. I mean, it's not really it's not bad. It's just like you can tell it's been burned, but it's not like he looks like Harvey Dent. Red Hood and the Outlaws, number 17. I like how Scott LaBelle is able to write for Jason Todd. I mean, Jason has a very nice monologue throughout the issue. It's good for. I mean, he really knows how to get in touch with the character, and there is also something funny where I mentioned Dick Grayson. Jason does ask Dick do you want to say hi to Starfire? But Dick's like, no, dude, not really. Really, that was very interesting that Dick wouldn't at least try to say hi to Corey, but oh well. I'd say if you enjoyed Scott LaBelle, also this is the second to last issue of Red Hood written by Scott LaBelle. I mean, if you enjoyed this title by him, then I would say maybe get this issue and the next one if you are a fan. I mean, personally, I liked how he has written Jason Todd, so I decided to pick this up. Mainly, that's the main reason I got it, because I like these issues that just solely focus on Jason. Again, Scott LaBelle knows how to write Jason Todd, so pick it up. Okay, now for my final comic, Nightwing number 17. Dick Grayson's going through. Again, this is another Death in the Family Aftermath story, but interesting enough, though, this one has the Death of the Family Aftermath banner on it. This doesn't. I don't know, that just struck me as a little weird. So pretty much Dick Grayson, he goes through this issue kind of dealing with the aftermath of what happened. He talks to Alfred, who's cleaning up his wounds. Then he talks to Commissioner Gordon when Nightwing delivers Rhea's body to reports Rhea's murder to Commissioner Gordon. Then with some of the performers from Haley's Circus who were still recovering at the hospital, and then Lucius Fox, who tells him that with Haley's Circus destroyed, pretty much he's broke. Also Barbara Gordon comes to see him at the funeral for Rhea, and also Jack the clown who died. And pretty much every time when Dick interacts with someone, they ask him are you doing all right? How is it going? But Dick's like, okay, I'm fine. I don't need this. And each time he says he's fine, you see Damian Wayne watching and observing him. Then later that night, then also I should point out that with the circus destroyed, that not only is because the amusement mall is destroyed, all the members of Haley's Circus kind of disband and go off on their separate ways. And later that night, some thieves are going through the wreckage of the surface, looking for some stuff that they could sell. And then suddenly, Nightwing shows up and he beats them all. He's very close to losing it. And then Damian shows up and calms him down. And then later, they go jumping off rooftops and swing, and they kind of talk about this stuff, and as Dick and Damian talk, you see that they have a really nice big brother, little brother kind of relationship. And so Damian kind of like gives Dick the pep talk for this issue, and Dick is like, okay, I'm okay with moving on and stuff. So yeah, when it says Nightwing on a rampage, I wouldn't really say rampage. He just like gets really intense for one fight. And also another thing that I liked about this issue was how you're able to see some people when after they go through something big and traumatic, they just usually go like, okay, I'm fine. I don't really want to talk about it. And I think writer Kyle Higgins does a good job at showing that with what goes on with Dick in this issue. And also I like how Damian and Dick have that brother relationship, and it's really evident during the last few pages of this issue that Damian does respect Dick and see him as a big brother. I would say Nightwing is definitely something you should pick up. I mean, if you read through Death of the Family, then you know it's awesome. So, but I'd say that this issue isn't really jump on. Even though this issue, it's a great series and you should get it. It's not really jump on friendly unless you've read the issues that were tied into Death of the Family. So probably get the last two issues, then get this issue and then start reading it because it's great. Okay, that's the end of my review. Thank you for watching. Quick recap: Nightwing number 17, great series. I would highly recommend you pick this up. Red Hood and the Outlaws number 17. I like how Scott LaBelle really does a good job writing Jason Todd. This is his second to last issue, but right now I'd say pick this up. Justice League of America number 1. Very nice, very interesting team. I would definitely say you should pick this up if you can afford the $4 this week. Justice League number 17, The Conclusion of Thrones of Atlantis. If you've read this, pick this up because the ending is awesome. If you haven't, then I'd say wait for the trade. Green Lantern number 17, The Start to the Wrath of the First Lantern series. It's also going to be Jeff Johns' last story arc in Green Lantern, so if you are a fan of Jeff, pick this up. Action Comics number 17. I am actually glad that Grant Morrison's run is over. I have no idea what the heck Lex Luthor is going to do, but I am probably going to give Diggle's run a chance. I'd say you shouldn't. I mean, if you are curious about how Lex got here, then read this issue. But if you don't want to spend the $4, I understand. You can skip it. Supergirl number 17. Supergirl fights Wonder Woman. If this idea is something you're interested in, then pick it up. If not, don't. Not even for hell on earth, because really. Okay, Superior Spider-Man number 4. This series is still awesome. Highly recommend you pick this up because it's great. Daredevil number 23. Very nice issue with what between Matt and Foggy. If you like their friendship, definitely pick this up. Captain America number 4. Captain America still continues his quest through Dimension Z. If you are, I'd say if Zola's your favorite villain, or if you like seeing Steve Rogers as kind of a mentor, father figure, pick this up. Avengers number 6. The backgrounds for the new members continue. Only get this issue if you've read it since the beginning. Otherwise, if you want to get this series, I'd say wait till next issue for a good jump on point. Thor, God of Thunder number 5. The conclusion to the first God Killer story arc. Next issue will be Gor's origin. Wait till next issue to start picking this up. And that's the end of my comic review for this week. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Spider-Man 1991 saying see you later.